Casey's is a premier garden center and gift shop located in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. Casey's offers a wide selection of plants, landscaping materials, home and garden decor, and gifts for every occasion. Casey's is committed to providing exceptional service, a unique shopping experience, and value to every customer. Stop in and see what makes Casey's so unique. Located at 21481 State Line Road, Lawrenceburg, Indiana, or call 812-537-3800. Let Casey's help you add beauty to your home.
All right, what is going on, Merle? I am so thankful to be here, hanging out with you.
Aren't you?
I am
so thankful.
I'm so very thankful for you. Anyways, how are you?
You're gross, and you're a liar.
How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm very good. You saw my kids came in, half day of school. They're all fired up.
Yeah, said it was awesome.
It was awesome.
Awesome.
They get early release day every now and then, so they came in like they just got by cheating something. So it's like, good for you.
Heck
all
yeah.
right,
Heck
now
yeah.
go in your room and work.
We're going to talk a little bit about being thankful today. Tis the season, right? Tis the season to talk about being thankful. So.
Yeah. Well, this is just kind of getting our head right for the whole season.
Yeah.
So, and the whole idea of like gratitude and thanks and all that stuff. And I'm actually going down this road because I've really been struggling with your gratitude lately.
Oh, mine,
yeah,
huh?
Yeah. Mine's been fine. I don't know what your problem is.
I got it. You know, I think this idea of gratitude and being thankful is very timely because, man, I'm sure you can attest to this probably more than I can. I have seen in probably the last 10 years, this time as we kind of move towards the Christmas, season, it is all about gifts, right? It's all stuff, right? And man, I think what Thanksgiving, kind of encompasses this idea of being thankful and grateful for what you do have. Man, it's so much more that should be like what Christmas is all about. Being surrounded by family and being thankful for that you're around, the people that you love. So, man, I just think it could be a very timely show, and hopefully it'll have a good shelf life for us.
Yeah. Well, I think you're right. We do get trapped into the stuff and all that, but I also think especially men, in their mid-20s to mid-30s, they're chasing their tail a lot with trying to either make it in their career, make it in life or whatever, and it's pretty easy to just lose focus on things, and I just bring that up because in particular, in my life here in the past month, we've had 3 significant deaths in the family, and family members, that have passed. And, all 3 of them have been an opportunity for people to be sad and hurt and just upset. But it's also been an opportunity for people to really try a different approach, and that is a gratitude, a celebration. And I think what is just reminded me of is in the Hutchinson family, I'll just say this, it makes me proud to be part of this family. In all 3 situations, man, we've had some incredible celebrations of life. We have enjoyed talking about the legacy of these people. We have, instead of mourned and cried about how it doesn't seem fair, it seems unjust, why so early in life, which are totally like humanly fair statements. Okay. But the idea that they're like, you know what, I'm just glad for the years I had. I'm thankful. And I'm not making this stuff up. These are things that I didn't seek this out to hear these in conversations. These are the things that have been coming out. And Linda and I were just driving away from one of the funerals, and we were talking about, it's pretty cool being in a situation like that, and people are just really celebrating the life versus being just brought down by the sadness of the event. So that's what brought it to my mind. It's like, and now, my cousins and all of my relatives and stuff, we're in our 50s and 60s. And so you can see we've moved through that 20 to 30 year age where you're just, you're all about accomplishing things and getting things done. And now you're like, no, you know what? We've been there, done that. we're just celebrating the things that we have. So anyway, that's kind of what prompted me on this whole topic.
I like it. Yeah. So that's
How about you? What are you thankful for, man?
Oh man.
Yeah.
We're talking a little bit before. I am currently on a little. Can I call it sabbatical? Is it?
I don't know. Like, what's 5 years off called? That sounds like a break.
No, I am in the midst of. I usually take the month of November off from work, and man, this year is very timely for me. Just an opportunity to get away, to kind of reset, to kind of put some things back into perspective, kind of get my headspace back where I think it needs to be. Getting ready to leave for vacation, to go down and sit on a beach and do some more of nothing. So I am very, very thankful just for this time that I'm in a position in my career which I can do this, that I can actually get to spend some time away, and kind of refocus back on my family and get myself again back in a kind of a better headspace. So I'm for sure thankful for that. I'm very thankful for a multitude of things, but that's the one that kind of comes to mind just because it's very present right now.
The perspective part is the important part. The idea that you take the time to actually realign and get your perspective right. In the teaching world of which I came through on a regular basis, like in any field, you'd hear teachers complaining and stuff about just how the year was going or a situation they're in. And, people don't realize this. They always say teachers only work 9 months a year and all that kind of stuff. And I'll tell you, like, if that's the way you think, go ahead and do that. Be a teacher for a while and tell me how it works for you. Okay. And not that any job's harder or easier than the other. What I'm telling you is, like, when you're in the teaching world, you are on stage. You are basically performing 9 months out of the year, 5 days a week. In other words, these people, these kids, these students, they're right there. And the idea that you can't even go to the bathroom when you want to go to the bathroom, you don't go out for lunch, you don't do that. People don't realize the toll that would take. Yeah. And so, but then we'd get a little time off there in summer.
Right.
And we never got 3 months off. So people think that's the thing. I got about 5 to 6 weeks typically.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what would happen. I would get my perspective back.
Yeah.
Like, okay. I've got a lot of great things here.
Sure.
I've been able to do different things in the summer, get fresh. And so it actually every summer was able to become a lot more thankful for really the occupation that I had. So, it takes time to do that, though.
Yep. Yeah, good deal. So as we kind of get ready to jump in the show, we'll thank our sponsors. But hopefully it turns into some good conversations about hopefully kind of changing that mindset, get into a grateful mindset, and kind of hopefully dive into that a little bit. So before we do, I just want to thank so much for Casey's Outdoor Solutions for coming alongside of us. Located down in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. Check them out. Let them know we sent you up there. They got an awesome facility, home decor, landscaping needs. Let them know we sent you up there.
All right. I also want to thank the Quality Auto Mart, located outside of Batesville, Indiana, for all your automotive and car service needs. Please go see Mark and Nancy Repke at Quality Auto Mart, and they can take care of you. Super nice people, easy to work with, very understanding. So go out there and give them a visit, give them a call. So, all right. So let's talk about a little bit of background work on just what happens. I actually wanted to approach this, too, on a psychological basis.
All right.
If we're talking to strong dads out there and we're talking about being healthy and running our homes right, one of the best things we can do is have our mind right when we come into our home, okay?
Yeah.
And one of the things that we know about getting our mind right is understanding the whole concept of gratitude, of thankfulness. And here's how you can tell, and this is what's behind when people are losing this thankfulness, the gratitude. The idea here is the opposite of thankfulness, of course, is being thankless, all right, unappreciative, okay? And you might say, well, why would somebody be unappreciative? Why would somebody not be thankful? And this stems really right back to our human nature, okay? They actually believe that they're entitled to something more. they entitled, you heard my word there, they're entitled. They've convinced themselves that they are worthy of more, that they are worth more than they're getting paid, should be getting treated better than they are. And so all of a sudden you're seeing like this idea like, I'm better than this. They don't respect me well enough. And it's this entitlement mentality. It's like, oh, wait, I can't be thankful because I'm not getting what I should be paid. And I point that out because, well, one, we've all been guilty. Right. And, I put myself higher on my pedestal than what I probably really should be, especially in the eyes of God. He's on the highest of pedestals. But the idea here that I'm not thankful, okay, well, if I'm not thankful, that means I have adopted an entitlement attitude. How's that sit with you?
Yeah, well, I mean, what do you think? So this idea of entitlement attitude, I mean, how just thinking of putting myself in that shoes, because I think just similar to what you were saying, like, I think a lot of guys, we fall into this, right? So this entitlement attitude, do you think that this is can this happen quickly, or is this something you feel like is a long term? So this is something, a perpetual, whatever the case may be. You're again, I really can't think of a scenario, but do you think this is something that's a short term or a long term thing that kind of happens?
I mean, I don't know. I guess it could go both ways, but right. I kind of view it mostly, I'll say for myself personally, it's like a rusting car. It's slow. Right. Okay. It's a slow process where the more miles I get on the car as it goes down the road, sort of the less I appreciate it, Yeah. And the metal starts to get eaten out by the rust. And finally I look at it and I'm like, oh, it's not what it used to be.
That's not the character, huh?
Yeah. No.
The more rust, the more character it's got now.
Yeah, no, the patina is not quite the look you're looking for. So I think what happens is people get wore down. They get and they get some bumps and bruises, right? Like, I mean, there may have been an incident where you didn't get treated fairly, where you did take a hit, okay? But those things sort of become your focus. And the next thing you know, you have adopted this idea of things aren't going the way they should go for me. And so you've put yourself in a higher place of expectation on that the world owes you, okay? Yeah. And it's a dangerous place to fall into, and I think that's why some of, like you talked about before, you've had this month to be off, and it gives you the opportunity to kind of sit back and go, okay, wait, my old truck ain't so bad after all, right? And it doesn't mean it couldn't be improved. Like maybe you should be respected more or get a little bit more money or have a pat on the back more frequently. But to throw the whole thing out and let your attitude go down there. And the reason why I say that is because, well, how's that coloring all the rest of your life? Yep. When you walk into the door in your house, are you the pessimistic jerk now because you're in the feel sorry for me because nothing goes my way kind of thing? I think that's where it really starts to rot.
Well, and I think, as I think, back to the times where I'm not grateful and I'm not thankful for what I do have, and I do get kind of stuck in these ruts. Part of why I took this month off is to hopefully, do the reset. Man, I think there's such a negative response that happens, kind of whether it be, your stress levels, my stress level is elevated because I'm not happy right now in whatever situation. Man, I'm sure, as I know, just from the work that I do, man, when you're stressed when you have a high level of stress, man, it affects a lot of things. Your blood pressure, man, your resting heart rate, a lot of stuff goes into, what happens, you're more susceptible to be, infections and getting sick. And man, I just think that this idea of when we get stuck in these ruts of not being thankful and grateful for what we do have, these negative thoughts and kind of behaviors kind of creep up in us. And just what you're saying, Merle, this idea, our kids are going to be some of the first people that feel the brunt of that. Obviously our spouse for sure. I'm sure Jenny can attest to times where I'm not in a grateful mindset and I'm not thankful for what I do have, and I get stuck in these negative, behavioral things that go on. And I'm sure she can attest to the times where she's just like not feeling the affection from me and not feeling the respect, and I'm sure my girls can attest to the same. And I think it's the ebbs and flows of just human nature, right? I think we all go through these times, but it's just this idea of realizing the negative impact that we can have when we kind of are carrying this load of not being grateful for what we do have. Again, I think a lot of it comes back to that, what I was talking about before, the perspective, right? Is the position I'm in, or is the situation I'm in, is it really that bad, right? It can always get worse, that the saying, that how that goes. But man, I just think that the perspective, when you start to really put things in perspective and you really start to see the negative effects of your negative gratitude has on other people.
Yeah. And it doesn't start out that way. It's not like you just one day woke up and you were in this less than grateful attitude.
Right.
But the older we get, the more that we start to get a certain way of life. Maybe you've started to earn a certain amount of money. You've got a certain amount of comfort. You've gotten a certain amount of power or respect. The more that you get that, the more then that you expect that, okay? And these are oftentimes things that people give to you. I've used the analogy before about the old, if every day for 6 months, out of nowhere, you went to your mailbox and somebody gave you $1 bill. You're like, oh, dude, like there's $1.
Yeah,
there's $1 in my mailbox. The first couple weeks you would be just ecstatic, like, dude, like I don't know what this is about, but like there's money in my mailbox.
Yeah.
And then you'd get 2 or 3 months into that, and you'd be like, oh yeah, the got the $1 in the mailbox today, and it would still feel good, but not as good, right? And then after 6 months, it'd be part of the junk mail almost, okay? Yep. And then all of a sudden, 6 months in a day, we decided to stop putting the $1 bill in your mailbox. And at 6 months in a day, you open up your mailbox and you don't see the $1, and you're like, what the heck? Where's my $1?
Yeah.
Where's my $1? And so that's how these things creep into us, that we get them slowly, and then we assume that they are ours, when really it's others that give these things to us. And so the idea here is we have to be really careful at the different things that we have in our life that other people contribute to us. It's not all of our doing. It's not like I went out and labored to go get that $1.
Right.
It's like, no, like somebody else was contributing to me, and I turned off my thankfulness and it turned into my expectation. It's no different. That this is the danger, and this is a very real danger of just about all social welfare programs, long-term social welfare programs. It's different if a hurricane comes through your neighborhood and blows everything down, and for the next 6 months or a year, you're getting some support to get back, but very well, okay, once we get the house built or the roof on, this is coming to an end, okay?
Yep.
But it's this ongoing thing where you just say, well, from here on out, this is what you get, and you start to build your life around it. You actually plan a budget that this is going to be there. It's a very dangerous place to get, because then when it is pulled away, then you have the hardest time trying to find gratitude and thankfulness. Not too many people could easily go, well, I'm glad for the 6 months I had where I was getting the $1 in the mailbox. Way too many of us would be like, where's my $1?
Yeah. So. Which I think could almost bring up a whole nother conversation of what did you do with that $1 that you got every day, right? So if I just went and squandered it and I just did whatever, I think the same. We did a whole show on the quality versus quantity time we have with our kids, right? You get that $1 every day. What are you doing with that, right? So are you making the most of the opportunities? Because similar to what we were talking about before, man, I think just that idea of being challenged in whatever you're doing it's a benefit, right? So making the most of the opportunities, seeking out different things you can be challenged in that. So I think you get that $1 bill every day. What are you doing with it? Are you just taking that $1 bill, putting it in your pocket, and then later on you're going to buy whatever candy bar with, or are you actually doing something meaningful with that $1 bill? An
investment, yeah. So let's talk about the psychological, and then like you had mentioned before. So if I fall out of an attitude of gratitude, of thankfulness, if I fall out of it, there are way more repercussions than just me being grumpy. The repercussions, actually, the mind, the psychology speaks to the biology, okay, and vice versa, okay? So you can't really separate your biology and your psychology. Some people would like to do that, but you can't. They talk to each other. And so all of a sudden you have these negative thoughts. You're not being appreciated, life's not going very well, and it trickles into exactly what you talked about: high blood pressure, depression, anxiety, all of these different things in your whole body. You lose strength and energy and all these different things. And so now I'm paying on a whole different level, all because of my attitude.
Yep.
What does that have to do with it? Well, your attitude got you in a bad place. And there's no shortage of research that reflects exactly that.
Yeah. So what do you got here? This is like a little thing you wanted to have us do here. So listen up, guys.
I will show you. I'll show you how the body and the brain are connected.
All right.
Okay. We do this all the time, and it blows people's minds away. They're just like, this is so stupid. All right. But the fact that it's stupid makes me want to do it even more. So listen to me just for a second. All right. Listen to me for a second. If you're out there driving, just humor me. Okay. Just humor me. Stay with me here. All right. So for right now, what I want you to do is I want you, Kyle, you too.
I'm doing it.
I want you to put on the biggest, cheesiest fake smile you can put on.
Fake smile?
Yeah, just throw it on, man. Smile.
I don't know if I can do it. What's a fake smile?
Just show your teeth, man. Just go. Now hold it. Yeah, good. Yeah. What are you doing?
I can't hold it very long, bro.
All right. If you were doing that in your car or wherever you were, all right, I want you to notice what just happened. I've done this hundreds and hundreds of times with people. I've done it with very severely depressed people. People who've come into me and could not even make eye contact with me. They were staring at the ground the entire time, and I finally was like, okay, look up. I need you to look up at me, all right? And I would say, you put a fake smile on your face right now.
Biggest one you got.
Biggest, cheesiest, stupid-looking smile you can put on, all right? And they do exactly what you did. And they look like an idiot, okay? Just like you did, okay?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, they'll start laughing. They did not come in laughing. They could not even think about laughing before, but they put their face, the patterns of their muscles, they put them in a certain way, and the next thing you know, they are laughing. And in that instant, I want you to really think about that. In that instant, your body is actually feeling good. If I ask people all the time, okay, so once they start giggling or laughing like that, I go, okay, so how do you feel right now? I don't know, pretty good, really.
Yep.
Every time.
Yeah.
Every time. They get a slight dopamine hit, okay? So here's my point with that. I actually do use that. Like I build that into a program when I'm dealing with people who are struggling and they find themselves gravitating towards depression. That is a good, quick, it's not a long-term fix, so to speak, okay? It doesn't all of a sudden turn your world around and you got rainbows and unicorns.
Right.
But what it does is it helps put the brakes on from you continuing to go and let your mopey, droopy face, because it's also creating a physical response. You looking down at the ground and just being unthankful and everything sucks in my life, it is also creating the same emotional, physical response. So at least we'll throw the brakes on that and get you to interrupt it with a little bit of laugh, a little bit of feel good, all right? And so it's extremely important that you realize how you're allowing your brain and body to communicate with each other. And it comes in through the attitude. Like, you know what? Like right now things suck, but I'm going to fake it till I make it, so to speak.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw this smile on and get myself feeling better, and I'm going to start to think intentionally about the things I'm grateful for and I feel good about.
Yeah. Man, I love that, Merle. I think this idea of kind of taking a step back. So you get stuck in a rut and not having an attitude of gratitude. Man, I think, similar to that practice we were talking about, I know for myself, taking time and just being silent for me. And again, this could be a double-edged sword. This could be kind of dangerous if you are kind of stuck in a rut and you have some anxiety and depression going on. Like, I don't know much about that world, but I think this idea of just stopping wherever you're at and just being silent, I think will allow awesome things to happen. I think when you allow the silent, because we live in a world that is so busy and so noisy, to take some time and just be silent, man, I would encourage you to spend time and do a quick prayer before that and be like, I'm just going to sit here in silent. God, speak to me. show me how grateful I can be and what the things I do, how blessed I really am. Man, I think is a powerful tool that we can do, because every person, even if I'm a big advocate of putting things in your schedule that are meaningful. Jenny and I talk all the time about, if you want to know what we're about, look at our bank account and our schedule. Man, put time to be still and to be silent in your schedule. Make it a part of your day-to-day action, because, man, if you're stuck in a rut where you do have this attitude of not being grateful for what you do have, man, you have to start incorporating changes, because if not, you're going to do the same thing over and over, and you're trying to expect different results, and it's just not working, right?
Yeah. So let's give a couple of then pieces of advice or some different things that you guys as strong dads can start to walk out, especially through this holiday season, as there's going to be a lot of stresses and extra energy being sucked out of your life. So what are you going to do, right? So the idea here is, first off, just being intentional. Being intentional about the actual, what am I thinking? Where am I spending mind time at? All right. What's going on in my head? And so one of the very first things is what is your gratitude list right now? The idea of you being able to say, you know what, like, yeah, a lot of things maybe aren't where I want them to be, but these are some things that I am grateful for. And right there, as you speak them in your mind, also pull them out of your body physically, in terms of, if you're thinking about a relative that makes you laugh, put the smile on your face. If you're thinking about your kids, put the smile on your face. If somebody is part of your life, or you're doing an activity in your life that makes you happy, then actually let your body reflect it.
Yeah, that's good, man. I think something else that we can start to incorporate, man. If you have kids, obviously as strong dads here, man, I think what a great opportunity to bring your kids alongside of you. Again, we talk all the time about the generational effect. Man, we need to start teaching our kids to be grateful for what they do. We live in an incredible country. We have incredible blessings in this country, man. Bring your kids along for this ride of trying to change our attitude when it comes to this, changing our mindset from, being an attitude of not being grateful for what we do have, to being thankful for what we do have. Man, what a great opportunity. If nothing else, come as we're in the midst of the holiday season, to spend some time to talk to our kids, or to let them realize what the real meaning of this time is, of being grateful for being with one another, being with our family, for our friends. Man, if you're out there and you have family and friend that are not going to get to spend the season with you because of, whether it be a death or whether it be because of distance, man, what an opportunity to teach our kids that even in the midst of negative things, that we can still be grateful for what we do have.
Yeah, that's a great point, because this is our kids. So we have to even understand how we are being bombarded with advertising. And advertising, the goal of advertising is to tell you or make you believe of what you don't have. It is to show you your deficit in whatever it is. Your car's not good enough. It's not the right car. Your clothes, your makeup, your house, whatever it is, it's not enough. So once they get you convinced that you don't have what you should have, now they can sell you the product. Right? And so your kids are in this deficit building all the time, because they're getting saturated and they don't even realize it. I mean, they're at school and they see all these other kids with the latest and greatest. And so there's a natural advertisement going on that, Mom, I need these shoes. Well, why do you need these shoes? Well, because I don't know, that these would be the cool ones. Well, why? Well, because everybody else has them.
Right.
And so we replace the wants with the needs, and it's just misleading. So the idea that we teach our kids, no, wait, back off. Let's take a look at what we actually do have.
Right.
Okay. So I think it's really important that we recognize how advertising just plays on us like crazy, and we desire things that, wait, now I'm unhappy, and yesterday I wasn't unhappy. Why do all of a sudden I need to have this?
Right. Man, I think as we kind of, we're still looking at different ways to try and change that mindset, man. You would put this down, and I think maybe it seems very cliche to say, or very the sunshine and rose type mentality, but I think looking at every situation and finding the positive in those situations, right? And again, I'll be the first to admit this is not always easy to do, right? So shit's not going good for you, and you're like, oh yeah, woohoo! Like I still have my health, right? But I do think there is something to be said about gravitating and holding on to the positive side of things, because man, it is very easy to find the negative and being ungrateful for everything that's going on in this world. Like you won't have to look very far, right?
Yeah.
But I think as strong dads, we are called to be in the minority when it comes to this. So let's be in the minority and let's gravitate towards the positive things that are going on in our life. Again, very difficult to do. I'm not going to say it's going to be an easy task, but man, again, as we kind of hopefully try and work on this idea of transforming our mind to be more grateful, man, it's got to be something we got to at least try and do.
Yeah. So we've talked about our buddy Frank Henniger before.
Yep.
Frank, we're calling you out again. So this guy is the master of gratitude. Okay, like it comes out of every pore of his body. It's one of the reasons again that we want him so much in our life. And so we were on a mission trip with him, and I think I've shared this one in another show years ago, but we were on a mission trip and on a bus, and all of a sudden the bus breaks down. And I mean, we are in just a rough, dirty, primitive, high school kids. Nobody's happy, and the bus breaks down. And of course, when the bus breaks down, we're on this old broken down road, immediately 99% of us were like, oh man, and started looking for moaning and groaning. And Frank's like, stands up, he's like, no, guys, like now we got a chance that someone's going to come by and help us, and we can talk to them about Jesus. Wow. And I'm like, dude, you're just whacked out, right? Like that's how bad I am.
Right.
And he's like, oh no, this is an opportunity. And sure enough, it wasn't 20 minutes later, some guy pulls up and he's like, he speaks some Creole language, and next thing you know, Frank's over there praying with him.
Really?
Yeah, and we get our tire fixed on our bus. So it's just like he has taught me some of that. Like so in Philippians 4:11-13, it's just a reminder like this. None of this stuff, guys, is just pie in the sky. Oh yeah, that's what those Christians do. No, I mean like this is an active piece of work that we have to practice in our life. And Philippians 4:11-13 says, I am not saying this because I am in need, for I have learned to be content, whatever the circumstances. I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. I can do all this through him who gives me strength. And I point that out because I know you guys have probably heard that scripture before, but the idea is it does not say through me who gives me strength. It says through Christ who gives me strength.
Right.
Okay. The idea there that I have to go outside of myself, go out of the human nature and go into God's nature to say, okay, wait, what do I actually have here? So what a great reminder.
Yep. Man, I just think what a great takeaway for moving forward, that this idea of being grateful and being, for what you do have, this is a choice. This is something you have to actually be mindful and actually make the decision to be grateful, because again, like I was saying before, it's very easy to point to the negative things. So I think as a strong dad, we're calling you out. I'm calling myself out. What are we going to do in this upcoming week, in this upcoming season, to make a choice, to make a conscious decision, to be grateful for what we do have, to be thankful for the people that we are surrounded by, that the opportunity that we get to surround other people, to come alongside other people as they're going through times where they're not very grateful, man. I just think it's a conscious decision we have to make as strong dads.
Yeah, great point. When you're not grateful, call yourself out. When your kids in your home are practicing that lesson, gratefulness, call them out. What a great lesson to help them in the long run of their life to be able to keep a healthier psychology in mind. So,
but it's also, you got to take a little bit of, because I've done this, right? So one of my girls were acting like a little stinker, right? And I'm like, you're acting like a little spoiled brat, right? Because mommy and daddy give you everything, right? And then not even a couple weeks later, like I'm acting the exact same way as they are, right? And it's like, I got to call myself out.
That's right.
When I'm acting that way.
Yeah, you have to. That's part of it, right? You have to call yourself out when you're in your little crybaby mode. And it's like, no, Like,
Yep.
I know better. So
Yep.
anyway, guys, we want to thank you very much for continuing to listen and spread the word about Strong Dads. We believe the mission that we have as a dad is one of the utmost important jobs that we can have. We are building not just our own family, but many generations to come. And if we don't do it well in the foundation of our family, we are going to mess up the generations to come. And if you don't believe me, just look at the statistics, right? Just look at the world around you. So, guys, we need your help. So do us a favor, share the show, give us 5-star ratings to help us boost up on the search engines. And you know what? If we can help you in any way, give us a call. You can call us at Rock Solid Families, which is 812-576-7625, or you can go on our website at rocksolidfamilies.org, and you can see all the different things that we're up to there. So check us out.
Good deal. Thanks so much for Quality Auto Mart and Casey's Outdoor Solutions. I messed them up this time.
Yeah.
For coming alongside of us. Really do appreciate them. Thanks for you guys continuing to listen, continue to share the word, and thanks so much, guys. Go out there and make some strong dads. Strong Dads wants to thank Quality Auto Mart for joining us as a sponsor. Quality Auto Mart was born in 1985. They are owned and operated by Mark and Nancy Repke. Quality Auto Mart provides all the services, repairs, and maintenance for your vehicle's needs with a 3-year auto parts and labor warranty. They offer complimentary vehicle safety inspection and estimates. Also, they offer a shuttle service, and the 4th oil change is always on them. They are located at 7307 on State Road 46 in Batesville, Indiana. Make sure you give them a call at 812-934-2301.